Most people think being rich looks obvious. A new Porsche, designer clothes, luxury apartments. But in real life, those are often signs of something else: debt, pressure, and a lifestyle that needs constant income to survive. The people actually building wealth, you don't notice them. They don't look impressive. They don't talk about money. And most of the time, they feel like they're just doing okay. But quietly, they're winning, because wealth doesn't show up first. It builds silently before it ever becomes visible. And today, we're going to break down 15 signs you're already on that path, even if it doesn't feel like it. There's a strange phase in money where nothing looks different, but everything is. Your lifestyle hasn't changed. Your income might not even be that high, but your behavior has. And that's where real wealth starts. Hi, I'm Rishi, and over time, I started noticing something that didn't make sense at first. Some people always looked like they were doing well, but never seemed to get ahead, while others looked completely average, but slowly built something real. And the more I paid attention, the more I realized wealth isn't about what you show, it's about what you quietly repeat. So if you've ever felt like you're not doing enough, this might change how you see your progress. Let's get into it. Number 1, you stopped paying the logo tax. At some point, you stopped caring about brands, not because you couldn't afford them, but because you understood them. A $20 shirt and a $120 shirt do the same job. The difference? Perception. A study from the Consumer Research Journal shows that people associate expensive brands with status, not necessarily quality. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So instead of paying for logos, you start paying for value. That one shift saves thousands over time. Number 2, you hit or are close to your first real buffer. There's a number where things start to feel different. For many people, it's around $20,000. Not life-changing money, but life-stabilizing money. You stop panicking over small expenses. You stop living paycheck to paycheck. According to the Federal Reserve, over 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency from savings. So if you've built even a small buffer, you're already ahead, because that buffer isn't just money, it's control. Number 3, you don't chase every promotion. This one surprises people. You stopped saying yes to everything because you realized more money doesn't always mean more wealth. Some promotions come with more stress, less time, higher spending, and the net gain, almost nothing. A report from Harvard Business Review shows that after a certain point, income increases don't significantly improve life satisfaction. So instead of chasing titles, you start thinking in terms of net benefit. Number 4, you're comfortable looking average. This is a big one. You stopped trying to impress people. No pressure to upgrade everything. No need to match others, because you realized something simple. Most people you're trying to impress are financially stressed themselves. So you step out of that loop. And once you do, your spending naturally drops. Number 5, you have money you can actually access. A lot of people do everything right. They invest in retirement accounts, lock money away, plan for the future, but forget something important: access. If all your money is locked until 60, that's not flexibility, that's delayed control. So if you've started building a brokerage account, liquid investments, accessible savings, you're ahead, because wealth isn't just about growing money. It's about being able to use it when life happens.
Number 6, you think about worst-case scenarios without panicking. This isn't negativity, it's preparation. You think, what if income stops? What if something goes wrong? And instead of ignoring it, you build around it. Emergency funds, backup plans, extra income streams. A study from Vanguard shows that people who plan for downturns are more likely to stay invested long-term, because they're not surprised by reality. Number 7, you stopped caring about fake rich signals. At some point, you start noticing patterns: luxury cars, financed; expensive apartments, rented at the edge; designer items, bought on credit. And you realize a lot of wealth you see is borrowed. So instead of copying it, You ignore it because real wealth doesn't need to prove anything. Number 8, you start looking at the real math. This is where things shift. You stop looking at price and start looking at total cost. Car equals maintenance plus insurance plus depreciation. House equals taxes plus repairs plus opportunity cost. You start asking, what does this cost me over time? And that question alone saves you from expensive mistakes. There's actually a funny pattern you start noticing. Some people spend money just to look like they have money. Financed car, branded clothes, expensive dinners, all documented on Instagram like it's a Netflix series. But behind the scenes, minimum payments, credit card stress, and checking their bank app like it's a horror movie. It's like paying monthly just to impress people who are also broke. And the crazy part is, everyone is watching everyone thinking the other person has it figured out. Meanwhile, the quiet guy with no posts, no flashy lifestyle is the one sitting on 6 figures in investments. No noise, no pressure, just progress. And that's when it clicks. Looking rich is expensive. Being rich is surprisingly quiet. If you're still watching, you're probably not here for entertainment. You're trying to understand how money actually works. And honestly, that's already a sign you're ahead. So if this kind of thinking helps you, you can subscribe. Just keep learning. Number 9. You use a low-effort system that you actually stick to. You don't rely on complicated spreadsheets anymore. No color-coded budgets that fall apart after 2 weeks. Instead, you follow something simple. Maybe it's save first, spend the rest, or a fixed percentage into investments. And that's it, because you realized something most people don't. The best system isn't the most detailed one. It's the one you can follow for years. Research from the Journal of Economic Psychology shows that people stick longer to simple financial systems compared to complex tracking methods. Not because they don't care, but because life gets busy. And when your system is simple, you don't need motivation. You just follow it. That consistency is what builds wealth quietly in the background. Number 10. You're building skills that are hard to replace. You've stopped chasing random certifications, stopped collecting degrees just to feel productive, and started focusing on something more important, being valuable. Not on paper, but in reality. According to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report, skills like analytical thinking, problem solving, and adaptability are among the most in demand globally. And here's why that matters. Income isn't just about your job. It's about your ability to stay relevant. People who build wealth long-term don't just rely on a paycheck. They invest in skills that increase their leverage. So even if one opportunity disappears, another one shows up. That's not luck. That's positioning. Number 11. You see your home as a tool, not a trophy. At some point, you stopped seeing a house as a symbol of success and started seeing it for what it really is. A financial decision. Because the truth is, bigger homes don't just cost more upfront, they cost more every single year. Property taxes, maintenance, repairs, insurance. According to U.S. housing data, the average house size has increased significantly over the past few decades, while the average household size stayed almost the same. More space, same people, more cost. Wealth builders notice this, and instead of stretching for the biggest house they can afford, they leave margin.
Because a house should support your life, not quietly control your finances for 30 years. Number 12. You don't panic when the market drops. Most people say they're long-term investors until the market drops 20%. Then suddenly, everything feels different. Fear kicks in and decisions become emotional. But if you're building real wealth, you've trained yourself to stay steady because you understand something critical. Volatility is normal. According to historical data, the S&P 500 has experienced multiple corrections of 10% or more, yet still delivered around 7 to 10% annual returns over the long run. That doesn't happen smoothly. It happens with ups and downs. This is where behavioral finance comes in. Studies from Dalbar show that the average investor underperforms the market, not because of bad investments, but because of bad timing. Buying high, selling low, reacting emotionally. If you've learned to sit through the noise and stay consistent, you're already ahead of most people. Number 13, you check your money without stress.
There was a time when checking your bank account felt uncomfortable, maybe even avoided. But now, it's normal, quick, routine. You open the app, look at your numbers, and move on. No stress, no overthinking. This might seem small, but it's a massive shift because awareness changes behavior. A report from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that people who regularly monitor their finances are less likely to overdraft and more likely to stay in control of their spending, not because they earn more, but because they pay attention, and that awareness creates better decisions automatically. Number 14, you treat debt like it's dangerous. You don't see debt as normal anymore. You see it for what it is, a tool that can easily turn into a trap, especially high-interest debt, credit cards, buy now, pay later, consumer loans. According to Federal Reserve data, U.S. credit card debt has reached over $1 trillion, and a large portion of that comes from everyday spending, not emergencies. Habits. You've stepped away from that pattern, not because you can't use debt, but because you understand the cost. Interest doesn't just take money, it slows down your future. And once you see that clearly, avoiding it becomes easy. Number 15, you understand that wealth is behavioral. At the end of all this, you've realized something most people miss. Wealth isn't just numbers, it's behavior. Two people can earn the same amount and end up in completely different places because of how they think, how they spend, how they save. A study from Ramsey Solutions' National Study of Millionaires found that 79% of millionaires didn't receive inheritance. They built wealth through consistent habits, not extreme income, not shortcuts, and not luck, just behavior repeated over time. That's the real difference, because money isn't complicated, but human behavior is. And once you start managing that, everything else starts to follow.